Hello and welcome to Growing Tech Fast, the condensed Org3D podcast where we talk all things fast growth tech. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Greg Armour, Executive Vice President at Gryphon.ai. Greg's got 20 plus years of SaaS sales experience and a track record of leading companies through periods of rapid growth. Greg, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi, how are you? Thanks, Jacob. Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you.
Great.
I'm honored that you even thought of me, so appreciate it.
So that's very, very humble of you to say. No, it's great to have you, and yeah, really looking forward to having a chat for the next 20 or so minutes. So I think probably start at the start, and can you please just describe your journey into sales to your current position as EVP at Gryphon?
You want me to start when I was a sales guy?
Well, why not?
All right. Yeah. So I've been selling things, any type of product and technology since I was 16 years old, from selling GMAT, LSAT, MCAT, courses to college students to help them further their education. I was 16 years old and I was doing that. And then I became 18 and I was selling cars. And then I went off to college and got my degree, and then I got my MBA, and I had to get a job, right? Real life came and I needed to get a job. So I got into sales, and I picked an industry that was booming at the time, which is the telecommunications industry. And I was a salesperson in the telecom industry probably for about 2 years before I got into management. And then I got into management and I bounced around between a couple different local CLEC providers and internet providers. So then I started to get into the internet, which was pretty cool. And then from there, I went to a software company called FiberLink, which ended up being rebranded as Maz 360. And I worked my way up. I started as a sales guy there because I wanted to learn software. And I said, if I'm going to manage people and doing it, I needed to learn how to sell it better than anybody else. So I did that. I moved up quickly within 12 months. And from there, I moved into a director role. And then from there, I moved into a VP role. I was running a substantial amount of that business, and we sold that business to IBM, which was a great exit for us. And a great exit for me. It was the first one that I had. I then went to another company that was in the MDM space, which is where Maz 360 somewhat evolved into, and mobile device management was really hot at that time. And that company went public, and I was there for 5 years. And we had tremendous growth globally, almost just north of $100 million from literally nothing. The product that I ran as a separate entity inside this company had $87,000 in ARR when I came on board. So we built out an entire global team that went to market, took that to $100 million. And then from there, I found myself at a cybersecurity ratings company where we experienced the same type of growth. I ended up coming on as leading a region, and then ended up running all of North America. And we've experienced growth from about 5 million to 87 million in 3.5 years. And I've been at Gryphon for the last 22 months, where we've seen the same type of growth, not at that higher levels yet. We're into our second full year now. And we've grown double in revenue year over year since I've come on board here. It's a great space. It's a completely different space. And in my mind, if you look at my journey's been to pick very specific industries that are really hot. And sales tech, sales enablement, MarTech is an extremely hot market right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fascinating. What a journey. So you've been in sales since 16 years old. You went to do your degree a little later on. Were you always set on being in sales? What was the trigger for that decision? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I got a degree in sociology and business administration, so I got a double major. Sociology is the study of human beings, right? You don't study human beings unless you want to become a professor and get a PhD, or leverage it to learn how to work with people. One of the things I love about being in the sales enablement space, MarTech, is that if you can sell to sales leaders, put on your resume that you've got a PhD in sales, right? So that's why I'm here. Is when you get to sell technology to sales leaders, you got to be pretty good at it, because there's some of the best people out there. But 100% always knew that I wanted to get into sales. I always liked it. It was exciting to me. Somebody once asked me, do you love to win or do you hate to lose? And that never left me, right? So I think that helped structure where I got to and how I got there.
Yeah. Fascinating. Great. Well, just touching on the sort of, that hot space that is sales tech. Can you tell us a bit more about Gryphon and how you guys are out there helping sales teams? Yeah,
I think that this tech and one of the reasons I did come to Gryphon too is leaders, as strong sales leaders, one of the things that has always made me successful has been a process, a methodology, and emotion, right? And I've always preached those things. Sales tech is an evolving marketplace that enables sellers to take advantage of technology and sell more of whatever it is that they're doing. And I didn't know a lot about sales tech. Like SalesLoft was new to me, right? Outreach was new to me. Call recording technology was new, right? Real new. 3-4 years ago. And so, as I looked for my next piece of my journey, what I've always done in my journeys is look to do something that furthers my career, that I learn from, that I can gain from, and I can benefit somebody else further down the line. So sales tech was something that I wanted to learn and get better at, because I think it's the future of how sales engagements work moving forward. Our buyers are smarter. They're 60% of their journey is done before they get to even have a conversation with us. It's not the same motion that existed 10 years ago, not even 5 years ago. And so the technology space for what it is that we do has become extremely important. Coaching has become even more important. Now hit a pandemic, right? And as soon as you closed $1 million deal over Zoom, life changed for every single type of company out there. Yeah. And I'm fortunate to think that, we here at Gryphon.ai are building tech that is extremely powerful to helping and guiding sellers and managers in real time understand how to make better decisions, how to answer questions better, how to provide more value back to the conversation that they're having. And it's not after the fact or after watching game film that's important to us. We've taken it a step further, and it's during the conversation. And what don't you want to lose? And what can you gain if you utilize technology like AI and ML to help benefit and better the conversation and help your salespeople sell more, help your company grow, and experience some of that rapid growth that everybody's looking for?
Yeah. Fascinating. And, is there any particular type of vertical or business which is best placed for this type of tech, or it sounds like it can be for anybody who are doing any sort of B2B sales?
I've always said that every company sells something, right? And I've always been in sales in my career, and everybody's in sales has always heard if people are like, I hate salespeople. Salespeople bother me, right? All they do is bother me. Yet every company sells something in some way, shape, or form. So the livelihood of most of the people I've always sold to was dependent upon people selling, right? So now I build technology that gives back to the sellers to get better. We have seen substantial success in the financial market, right? The guided selling in the financial market. And we've always been strong as a company in the financial space and the insurance space, just where we grew from as a business. But B2B tech, business services, financial services, insurance, manufacturing, retail, they're all looking for ways to better communicate and provide value of their product to their customers. And that's really what we're trying to do here, is make everybody have a better experience and higher success rates. And what better way to do that than take all the best information you possibly can about the problem you're trying to solve and provide it to the person in real time.
Yeah. Fascinating. Okay. So you talked around rapid growth there. You've got a history of success, leading teams to rapid growth. What would you tell other leaders to focus on when they're building a high growth sales organization?
Absolutely. A couple of things. Very important that you have a level of communication inside all departments, meaning you need to communicate strongly with your product and what you're seeing in the field. You need to work strongly with marketing so that the messaging is right and it's being delivered to the outbound, right, air cover. You need to make sure you work very closely with customer success so you understand what your customers are saying. And so you have to have a very vast net of everybody that you want to communicate to inside your company, because your role is to understand all of that and then make sure that you can help all the other organizations perform at a better level. And if you want to be very successful in just the sales arena, as I said, I'm a process, methodology, motion guy. Doesn't matter which methodology you choose. There's a ton of them out there. Just pick one that's going to be right for your business model. But for me, 6 pillars, it's the only way I operate my business. I send that message down to all of my leaders, which trickles down all the way into our sales team. And it's the 6 pillars that I think make or break how you run your business. And they are activity, pipeline generation, deal progression, quota attainment, Salesforce hygiene so that we can pull data, because data and metrics and running a metrics-driven sales organization is more important today than ever. And then the last is headcount, right? Make sure you're always above and on par with your headcount, because the ramping of your headcount is contingent upon your budgeting process. So staying ahead of that and hiring early and right and often is a very good recipe for success. So those 6 things, if you take control of those and find a way to take your own style and everything that you bring to the table, but focus it, narrow down the day-to-day, it makes it a lot easier to look at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. I love those 6 pillars. I may steal some of those for myself.
Most people will, right? That's the playbook, right? Write your own playbook associated with those things. But there's a lot of things there's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of emotion that goes into any type of sales opportunity. Sales reps are passionate and relationships are personal. And in order to get through all of that cloudiness, you have to have a very specific, driven success criteria. And if you follow that, it's the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, you're going to be right. And that's a pretty good forecasting model, is to be right 80% of the time.
Absolutely. Well, we touched on it before again, how hot that sales tech space is. So can you tell the audience a little bit more about where you see sales tech heading in 2022?
That's a great question. I think it just continues to become more and more important in every company's bottom line, right? So the tech stack for sales is going to continue to grow. You got to find a partner that's going to meet the requirements and needs of what it is that you're looking to do. I don't see so MarTech and sales tech somewhat share the same budget. I don't see a massive increase in the utilization of that budget. However, I do see a shift in sales tech being leveraged and utilized a little bit more than MarTech in 2022. I also see, the utilization of AI and ML and guided selling really being the differentiators out there in the marketplace. Combo Intel is now being around for quite some time and making decisions after a conversation and watching plays like an NFL quarterback like Tom Brady, right? He's out in the news. Tom Brady is a student of the game and he studies game film, and conversation intelligence somewhat falls into that category. You've got to take it to the next level, which is, how do you help somebody in real time? And what value can you get to them in real time? And how powerful is the information that's given to that person in real time if you can provide it to them in a manner that allows them to take the best information that they can and make a better conversation for both parties, right? That is really where I see this market shaping up in 2022, is guided selling becomes the forefront as to how companies look to build their pitch and how they go to market due to the amount of people who are now closing $1 million deals over Zoom. And I'd add to that one other thing is that the best IP that any company can have isn't their technology. It's the knowledge of their salespeople. It's the knowledge of any of their people. And if you can leverage technology that makes the top 20% of your sellers highly successful and provide that to the other 80% of your sellers in real time to get them better, then you have a happier sales force. You have people that you're not turning over. People are getting better. They're being able to be coached. Coaching becomes extremely more important, but coaching in real time adds a lot more value, and leveraging the IP of the best sellers that you have and being able to give that to the other 80% is only going to make your organization stronger. Flip that 80-20 rule.
Yeah. Well, that's, I guess, what everybody would love to do. So makes sense. Okay. And how is Gryphon contributing to the space? You know, what do you guys do differently to other players?
I would tell you that for us, we want to be able to make sure that our technology is utilized by as many people as possible, no matter how, right? So think of the access method being important, but if you have your own access method, still being able to leverage Gryphon is extremely important, because Gryph, which is our guided selling, little guy, we call him a sales assistant who sits on your shoulder, who listens to your conversation and says, hey, try saying this. Or, you know what? 10,000 other responses here work better. Try this one. Or think about if you just simply even narrowed it down to somebody said to you, you know what, Jacob, I'm not interested. And right away, you had the best 5 responses to not interested. So you could respond to that person to help them come more toward where you want to go. Right. And I believe that because of the way that we're communicating now, the evolution of guided selling is going to come forefront as the top leading technology as we move forward. And wait, do you see what 2023 brings? Right. I think 2023 brings biometrics, right, and facial recognition and different ways to understand how people are communicating, because you're not in front of them. So reading the room becomes a little bit more difficult, right? And now that you're not spending so much on T&E, you can spend a little bit more money on sales tech, which will only help your sales organization get better.
Yeah. No, it really makes sense. And I was interested to that little teaser you gave on 2023 as well. But, even for a guy like me, a relatively young person, I've still had to adjust to just having like relationships over Zoom or whatever. And it's something that I guess I'm probably still getting used to in terms of like how best to communicate and read the room and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, it's different, right? It's definitely different, but it's efficient and it's effective. And we want to make sure that everybody, the buyer experience and the seller experience is maximized to the highest potential, due to the mega shift in how people are buying, right? The buyers are more intelligent because they gather more information, so they know a lot more when they come to the table, and they don't want to be misled, misguided. They don't want to be talked to, right? They're already where they want to be. And so sellers have to learn to adapt to the edification process. Isn't as big as it used to be because they're coming prepared. And you want to maximize that conversation and not waste their time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So slightly different topic, Greg. What motivates you as a leader?
Lots of things motivate me. What motivates me as a leader, truthfully, is writing big comp checks. Right? I like making sure that my the sales organization and any other revenue generating organization is being compensated for the hard work that they do. And I love what motivates me is getting as many people as I can to President's Club, right? And our tech does both of those things. It allows you to get big comp checks, and it allows you to get yourself to President's Club. I think that reward is very big in our space. It's a competitive industry. Sales is competitive. Don't ever think that it's not. It's highly competitive. Whether you're competing against an actual company as a competitor or competing against your peer, you're definitely competing. And so reward for that competition is what really gets me and motivates me as a leader to bring my A game every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. And a bit more of your wisdom, if you would. What advice would you give to somebody starting their career in sales now? What would you tell them?
I would tell them that understanding technology and understanding the buyer is the most important thing that they can do. That it's not technology that people buy. It's a problem or a pain or a different reason to do something that will be more efficient and save more money or change the procedure in how a company runs. And if you leverage that type of mentality when you're talking to people you're trying to sell to, you'll be in a better position than trying to jam technology down somebody that doesn't really understand what that is. So make sure you do really good discovery. The sales, in my opinion, are won or lost in the discovery phase. And so make sure you ask really good questions. Don't ask questions that don't add any value to the person that you're talking to, and treat them as if they know everything and find a way to help them solve the problem, the business problem, or the impact that the problem is having on the business. And I think you'll be more successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fantastic. Well, that's some great advice. I think to finish off on, we've just about hit our time limit for today. But listen, again, Greg, thank you very, very much for joining us today.
It's been great, Jacob, and I really appreciate you reaching out to me and allowing me to speak with your audience. You've got a fantastic following, and if anybody wants to reach out to me, you can get me on LinkedIn, or you can reach out to me at Gryphon.ai.
Fantastic. Great. Thanks again.
Follow us on LinkedIn too. See you guys.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Great. Thanks so much, Greg.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, thank you. I hope that I hit the areas that you wanted to and I wasn't too long-winded.
No, not at all. Not at all. Really enjoyed that. I know that you've got your own sort of podcast that you do as well, have you?
Yeah, I do. I do. I have an Armor's Armchair that my lovely marketing organization had volunteered me for, which is good, right? I think that we provide good information back out into the field, which is the only thing I'm interested in doing. I just did an interview with Selling Power. I think they did a very good job in portraying things like this. You asked insightful questions that people are going to want to know, right? That discoveries thing that we talked about at the end there. People need to get better at doing discovery and solving a pain, and not saying, here's my technology. What I really wanted to say was, too many people just automatically go into a demo. What are you demoing? You have no idea what that person's trying to solve. Understand what's the problem and then demo. You know, way too many people just go right to a demo and then to a POC, right? When did a POC become a way that people had to sell? Why should you have to sell a POC? So that you can elongate your sales cycle and people can use your tech for free? I don't know, right? I think if you can do a better job of uncovering their pain and showing how your technology solves that pain in real time, you don't need a POC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what? I'll have to shoot because I've got another call, but we did a workshop on some of our pitches last night, and that was one of the things that came up, was that as a business, we were jumping in too quickly into that pitch or demo, as you say, without, asking all of those important discovery questions at the start. So yeah, you've basically said exactly what we were finding last night.
So the other thing you can do too is, if you want to use a Convo Intel tool, especially in your space, think about how much you speak versus they speak. And if you can cut down your speech patterns inside your company, you'll see how much more you'll win, right? It's a very unique exercise. But if you record yourselves for like 2 months, and I'll give you my product, you can even use it. Record yourselves for 2 months and then look at how much conversation takes place versus you speaking versus them. and then, or do it for a month, and then spend the next 30 days finding a way to cut that down and chip away at it. And in 3 months, you'll see that it's probably, you're down somewhere below 40% in communication on your end and 60% or higher on communication on the other person's end, and you'll be more successful.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, listen, yeah, thanks again. I'll shoot you over the recording once it's done by the marketing guys. And yeah, look forward to connecting, when I think it's Jonathan, isn't it, is back from vacation.
Excellent. Cool.
Great. Cheers, Greg. Have a great weekend.
It's John, but I was like, Jonathan. John. I call him Renahan. Everybody calls him Renahan. It's like, John isn't the name of a CFO. Like, if you think about it, like a strong CFO's name is Renahan. Hey, Renahan, that guy's going to cut my check.
If I ever meet, I'll probably go with John first and then maybe Renahan after. But
there you go. Well, you get to know him.
Cheers. Have a good weekend.
Yep. See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.